Thanks for agreeing to meet me at such short notice.
Not at all.
I just wondered where I could go with my complaint.
I'll try my best. So you said it was to do with your rating?
Yeah, I got a good at my mid-year, but then it got changed to inadequate, which is absolutely abysmal. I'm borderline strong.
Okay. Why do you say that you're borderline strong?
Because I was put on a special project in July, so it meant that I was the person in charge of that project from a business point of view, and I put in so much work and extra hours and everything, and to get adequate is just a slap in the face.
And did you get feedback from your managers?
Yes, I've got it here.
Okay. And the feedback was given directly to your manager, so they had the feedback as well?
Yeah, I forwarded it on to them.
Okay. So it was in writing, you see you've got a copy there. Okay, that's great, I'll have a look at that. So this is a copy that you've given me here of the feedback, that's great. And so to summarise, you had a good mid-year rating, so we can sort of ignore that part because that's all done. So really it's just to find out what's happened the second half of the year.
Yeah, it was ever since I was put on the project.
Okay. Okay, can you tell me a bit more about the project? What was your actual role in the project?
Well, there was an unexpected change in regulatory requirements, and it had to be done by the end of the year, so it meant 100% of my time was spent on the project. I was there from a business point of view, as a SME, to go through the procedures and the processes that we do to make sure that they would be ready for the change by the end of the year.
So your role specifically was of an SME then?
As an SME.
So your experience, okay. And so were you there full time?
Well, I do work part-time. I don't work a Friday, but I was there for 100% of the time that I was in work. But I did come in on Fridays, and just because they were struggling and there was such a big deadline, and also Saturdays as well, so I was doing a lot more extra hours. So
it was obviously very busy at the time.
It was, yeah, extremely busy, very stressful.
Okay, so when did you find out about this rating? When did you realise that you were getting inadequate?
We had to reschedule our one-to-ones because of Christmas and things, so we'd have been around about the 21st or 22nd of December.
Okay, so talk me through that meeting. Did your manager go through the feedback you were given?
He just dismissed it.
All of it?
Yeah, pretty much. He said it wasn't relevant.
Okay, so you said it wasn't relevant, so just so I'm clear, did you have goals at the meeting at the start of the year?
Yeah, they were done at the start of the year, which were just generic for everybody in the department.
Right.
And they only really got changed if you had a specific role.
So if you were 100% on a project from July, did you revise your goals then before you went on the project?
No, it all happened in such a rush. I basically got told on the Friday that I was going to the project on the Monday, and I had to arrange everything because I was changing buildings, so there was no time to even consider looking at the goals.
Okay. So what about contact with your manager throughout this time? Did you manage to meet with them? Did you have regular meetings?
Well, yes and no. We did originally. It was kind of like every week we would catch up, but then Jason often cancelled the meetings, or it was just too busy and I had to focus 100% of my time on the project.
So how often do you think you met?
We never really met face to face. It was by emails or over the phone.
Okay. So Jason's your line manager, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me more about your final review meeting. You said he dismissed your feedback. So what did he base your performance on then if he didn't use feedback?
Well, this is where it gets ridiculous. So when we agreed the goals in January, they were pretty much the same as my colleagues. Just generic goals for the team, and it was only really if you had an extra role within the team that you would get an extra goal. So the goals were things like keeping on budget, keeping customers, good customer service, and participating in department activities and stuff. So that was one of the things they used against me. How could I participate in department projects or department initiatives when I was on the project full time? I just honestly, it's just beyond words.
Yeah, I can understand that. So when you did have the meetings, which you said weren't that often, did you ever mention, that you weren't participating and stuff? Was there anything mentioned about your goals at all?
No, not really. He was more just asking how I was getting on with the project, and we spoke a few times because he was having to authorise my overtime, so he knew how much time I was spending on the project.
Right, so he obviously knew you were busy, and he knew that you were spending all that extra time on the project.
Yeah, he did know that because he authorised my overtime, so he had to be, and he just wanted to make sure that I wasn't doing too many extra hours.
Okay, so you said you were 100% at the project, obviously you were in another building, so was there someone managing you on the project?
That was Tommy. I've worked with Tommy before for years, and he's been brilliant. He's really good.
And did Tommy provide good feedback to Jason?
Oh yeah, excellent feedback. He said that we wouldn't have been able to deliver it if I hadn't been involved.
Okay. So who else did you get feedback from? So you got it from Tommy, so who else was there?
There was Gordon, he was Tommy's manager, and then there was Fiona, and she was the senior project manager in charge of the whole project.
Okay. And how was their feedback to you?
I've got a copy of it here. It was mostly good.
Okay. Fiona's made reference to going off message, so I'm going to read direct from the feedback here. So it said, at times, Kerry didn't stay on message with the directions set from me and the incident team. We would agree a direction and priorities in the room, but then find that Kerry had relayed a different message to the guys working on the cases. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
That was just one big misunderstanding which I sorted out at the time.
So, what sort of misunderstanding?
We'd agreed a course of action at one of the project meetings, but Gordon told me afterwards to take another route, and it was that same day that he told me to do that.
Okay, so did he give a reason why he did that?
Well, he felt that at the meeting that the other people weren't up to speed on the project, and that the way he told me to do it would have been a better approach.
Okay, and how did you feel about that?
Yeah, I totally agreed with him, and I thought that's absolutely fine, I'll just go ahead with it. And he said that he would speak to Fiona and tell her what we'd agreed.
And did Fiona agree it?
Well, I only found out later that in a conversation that she hadn't, and that's why her feedback says that I went against what was agreed, but I didn't. Gordon said that he would speak to her.
Okay, so when was your discussion with Fiona?
Maybe a couple of weeks after that.
So prior to the date of her feedback?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay, so it said it was a misunderstanding. You said it was a misunderstanding, and you sorted it. So do you think then Fiona might be talking about other incidents, because she does say it times in her feedback? So that suggests possibly more than once.
Oh yeah, it does say that. I actually didn't even notice that, but that's the only time I can think of that she could be referring to.
Okay, so when you had that conversation with Fiona, did she agree with you that it was sorted?
What do you mean?
Well, how did she indicate to you that it was resolved? I mean, did she say, confirm that it was a misunderstanding? Talk me through how the discussion went. I'm just trying to understand.
Well, like I said, it just came up in a conversation, and I explained that Gordon had decided to take a different approach, but she seemed fine.
So why did you say that? Why do you say that? Why do you?
Well, she didn't say anything more.
Okay. So I suppose I'm trying to understand why she would bring it up in your feedback. If it wasn't anything to do with you, then why would she bring that up in your feedback? Could it be that she didn't feel that it was you or she felt it was your responsibility, and that therefore she still needed further explanation on it?
Well, I suppose so, but that's definitely not the impression I got.
Okay. So setting Fiona's feedback aside, is there anyone else that gave you feedback that make you think why Jason would give you inadequate?
Not that I've seen.
Okay. What about yourself for your review? Did you do a summary of what had been going on from the project? So did you give your...
Yeah, well, just not on thoughts, but there was a problem with that as well.
A problem?
Yeah, the message that I sent Jason with my feedback, he said he didn't get it.
Okay, so when did you find out that you hadn't received it?
It was a follow-up meeting in January. I was trying to understand why he gave me an adequate, and he said that I hadn't provided a summary of my contribution, but I did. I sent an email.
So do you still have a copy of it saying your sent file maybe?
I had a look, but it isn't there.
Okay. Let's go back to the meeting with Jason in December. Was there any indication beforehand that Jason was going to mark you as inadequate?
It was a complete shock to me.
Okay, so I know you didn't have many conversations as you were on the project.
I was on lockdown. 100% of my time had to be spent on there. Sorry for getting mad.
So my concern, I understand how you're feeling, but I'm concerned that someone who was rated as good mid-year then gets inadequate, and yet the manager makes no reference to it at all about your deteriorating level of performance.
Well, he only said I was to make sure that I wasn't working too many hours. I've had problems with stress in the past, so he just wanted to make sure that it wasn't coming back.
Were your discussions written up? Did you get a written copy?
No.
Okay, that's good and bad, I think.
Why?
Well, it would be better if there was something written to say that there was some sort of issue, or if there had been any discussion on key points of what was changing that was making your rating go down to adequate. In those circumstances, I would expect your manager would have taken some notes to say why he was suddenly changing you to inadequate.
So that's a good thing then.
I wouldn't go that far, but it does help your case in the fact that this adequate rating is a shock to you. That they hadn't taken any steps to, what steps have been taken, should I say, to reach that agreement in your rating?
I've had 3 meetings with Jason now to try and get him to explain why I'm inadequate. After all the hours and work I've put in, I was hoping to be as strong.
And what explanation has he given you so far?
Rubbish, basically. He keeps bringing up my lack of involvement in the department, and I kept telling him I wasn't there. How is it my fault if I'm on lockdown on a project? I can't be spending time doing department initiatives. It's ridiculous.
Okay. So is there anything else? Did you mention the feedback at all during your meeting?
Well, he mentioned Fiona's feedback, but he just seemed to dismiss anything that Tommy or Gordon said. It was like that one line that she said dismissed everything else that they'd said about me.
And has he confirmed that in writing?
Well, I sent him a copy explaining in an email why I thought my rating was wrong, and he gave me this reply.
Okay. I see from this that he's confirmed your rating was based on the following: your end of year review meeting conversation, one-to-one goals meeting and conversation across the year, all feedback received across the full year from all stakeholders, and his own experiences of your contribution and collaboration across the full year. Last one is interesting, as you had limited contact for the second half of the year. So I think feedback has definitely been the determining factor here. So he absolutely didn't share any other feedback with you apart from what you have here?
No, he's gone on Fiona's one. There's no other reason. All the other feedback is good. Look, Tommy says my contribution was awesome. Awesome. How does that end up as adequate?
Yeah, I can see that. We need to bear in mind that you've already been assessed as good for the first half of the year, so to end up as adequate overall suggests your second half was worse than that. You're looking at an unsatisfactory really, and the good first half has brought you up to an adequate.
I've already tried to sort this out face to face with them. What can I do now?